Are you staying focused or letting the market distract you? Let's take a quick ride. Every investor gets tested sooner or later. All it takes is one bad day and suddenly the headlines turn negative, social media fills with fear, and people start wondering if they made the wrong choice. But before you allow this noise to distract you, ask yourself one simple question. Has anything actually changed? I'm not talking about today's price or what people are saying online. I'm talking about the technology, what it was built to do, and the problem it's trying to solve. If those things haven't changed, then why should one rough day change the way you see your investment? One of the best things you can do as an investor is to know what you own and know why you hold it. When your confidence comes from doing your own research instead of following your emotions, it's a lot harder for the fear to push you around. The XRP ledger still works the same way it did yesterday. It still moves money in seconds, runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and does it at a very low cost. A bad day in the market doesn't change any of that. Prices will always move up and down because people get emotional. That's just how the markets work. But over time, what really matters is that the actual technology keeps doing what it was designed to do. That's why I spend most of my time keeping focused on the tech instead of staring at the charts. The charts only show you what people feel today, but the technology helps you see where things could be going tomorrow. Now let's take a moment to remind ourselves of why we hold in the first place. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, most of the daily price swings are just noise. Markets have always gone through ups and downs, and that's nothing new to any of us. The problem is that fear makes people do things they later regret. Some people buy after prices have already gone way up because they don't want to miss out, and others panic sell after the prices have already dropped. That's how a lot of people end up losing money. The investors who stay patient are usually the ones that come out ahead. That's why Warren Buffett said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." It's easy to feel confident when everything is looking positive, but the real test comes when everyone else is running scared. That's when knowing what you own can make all the difference. So instead of getting caught up in every headline, pay attention to what's happening behind the scenes. One of the biggest changes happening in finance right now is something called tokenization. That's the idea of putting things like real estate, government bonds, gold, and other real-world assets onto a blockchain. Doing that can make them faster to move, easier to trade, and available to more people around the world. This isn't just something crypto supporters are talking about anymore. It's becoming a serious conversation across the financial world. And if that doesn't grab your attention, let's hear Michael Arrington of Arrington Capital talk about his experience with XRP.
Everybody agrees, like, XRP sucks, and I don't really get it, right? I mean, they're a legitimate company. They don't pretend to be something they're not, and they're really good at one thing: moving money fast and cheap. And it's fantastic. It fills a big need. And for a hedge fund like us to be able to denominate in Ripple and XRP, I just did the same thing, is really, really, really good. We did our first close. We moved north of $50 million into the company in Ripple and XRP in like 2 seconds, and it cost 30 cents. Now that is amazing. There's no way to do that with fiat or Bitcoin. There's just no way to do it that fast and that cheaply.
Now, none of these partnerships we keep talking about is a guarantee for success. But when you put all of these pieces together, you can't help but see how massive this company Ripple and the XRP ledger is becoming. That's why I always say watch what they do and not what they say. Anyone can make you a boatload of promises, but the results is what really should matter to all of us. While many people are focused on today's price, Ripple is focused on building the future of global payments. Big money is always stacking the deck long before the headlines inform you of what's coming. And understand that these companies don't spend years building new systems because of social media hype. They do it because they believe there's a long-term value in it. So ask yourself this: if Ripple really had no future, then why would companies around the world keep working with them during one of the longest legal battles in crypto history? Would you actually invest billions of your dollars with a company being sued? I think it's pretty obvious these players know something we don't. And once again, if that doesn't lock you in, let's hear Cody Carbone, the CEO of Digital Chambers, talk about the Clarity Act and where the banks' heads are at with this.
The banks need this bill to pass for them to really flourish in the digital asset markets. The banks have an opportunity to truly compete and have institutions be the leader in the digital asset markets if this bill passes. So I'm not surprised to hear some of the banks like a JP Morgan start to be more quiet as this is getting towards the finish line, because while they might rail against digital assets sometimes in some venues, they're all trying to compete here. Yeah. And so looking at what they're really saying at face value, they are trying to hold off the crypto industry as much as possible so they can catch up. And so if this bill stalls a little bit longer, they can catch up more and more because they are building. I've always been fascinated, while JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon publicly has said, like, Bitcoin's a scam, crypto's a scam, we don't need it. They have been the largest employer of blockchain developers in the entire world.
The more you zoom out, the easier it is to see that this isn't slowing down. It's only growing at an alarming rate. It is a fact at this point that our financial system is absolutely changing. Tokenization keeps gaining attention, and XRP is becoming a bigger part of the conversation every day. Whether all of this happens next month or a few years from now, the people who stay patient, stay focused, and think long term will be in the best position when the future arrives. So don't let every headline shake your confidence. Try to keep your eyes on the bigger picture and what's really being built here. Quit looking at every 5-minute candle like it's a sign of what you should do with your investment. Know what you hold and why you hold it. And always, always, always follow the money instead of the noise. Every week brings us closer to another piece of this puzzle. And with every video I post, I do my best to keep you focused on a future that could change our lives. So lock the F in, people. I'm your host, Steele, and we're holding this line. Let's navigate this machine one path at a time. I'll see you in the next video.